Hello and welcome to my look at the Marttiini MBL folding knife. The Marttiini company was founded in Finland in 1928 and are still operating here to this day. They've had a couple of bumps along the way, including having most of their factory destroyed in the Second World War in around 1944. They bounced back and they're still doing their thing. I should mention up front that I don't speak Finnish. In fact, I barely speak English on some days, so my pronunciation of their company name may be completely wrong, but Marttiini is as good as it's going to get from me. So we'll just scroll back. Why are you looking at the box? Well, that's the box and everything it comes in. I just think it's interesting to have a look at the packaging. This knife comes very well presented. Before we actually dig in there, I'll just show you on the back of the box, that's their website and also the barcode. Now why that's interesting, you'll see the name there, MBL. You'll quite often also see this knife listed at retailers, and the name, I'm going to spell it because I don't think it's a name, but it has to be an acronym, is MBUBA, and that's listed all in capital letters. I'm going to call it the MBL because that's what it's on this box, and also on their website, that's what this knife's listed as. So I really don't know where the other name comes from, but I've seen it on more than one site that way. So anyway, it comes in this cardboard sleeve, which is sort of quite classy, silver and black. And inside there, it comes in this presentation tin, which again is very nice. It's got the website name there, the company logo, which is embossed in there, so it's a 3D effect. And when we open the box up, it's a hinged tin box. There's our knife nested in some foam. So it comes very nicely presented. They describe this as a gift box, and I think it would actually make quite a decent sort of a gift if you're looking for something classy. So anyway, that's how the knife arrives. We'll put that off to one side. This is the knife itself. It is a very classy looking piece. I think you'd agree right up. It's got stainless steel bolsters, Curly Birch handles. It's also available with rosewood handle scales and brass pins. So I'll just bring it up and have a close look at that. I do love the luster of the Curly Birch. It's a very classy sort of a wood. Quite typical that you get that on Scandinavian knives. Very nice knife close. Probably my only criticism of the way it looks is the exposed tang here, but of course for folding knives often that's just the way it is. But it does kind of ruin the lines of the knife when closed, but that's just me being a little bit picky. So we'll open it up and have a bit of a look at it. And we'll have a quick look at the markings on the blade. I don't think there's much on the other side, in fact nothing on the other side. Alright, we'll just place it down there and we'll have a bit of a talk about it. So, purpose of use for this knife, well it's kind of a hard one to nail down. It probably would make a pretty reasonable outdoors knife. I would also, I guess for me, I see it as a large gentleman's knife, and we'll talk about the size of it shortly. It could be used as an EDC knife. It's probably a little large and probably a little bit heavy, but again we'll get to those numbers shortly. As you would have noticed there, it's a locking mechanism with the lock way down on the back there, and you can also probably see there's no adjustable pivots or anything, so this is not a knife you're going to be able to pull apart and do any service on. That may be an issue, and we'll talk about that shortly as well. Blade grind is a hollow grind. It's the fairly standard sort of hollow grind that you'll see in quite a lot of Scandinavian knives, is that it's quite, I guess shallow would be one term towards the edge, but it is shallow ground from there, and that's not ground at all, that's just flat. So you will see that I've also got that Eka knife that I've got is ground virtually the same way. The blade shape, well, you'd almost be tempted to call it a drop point, but it's not. The spine of the blade is in fact completely straight. It gives the blade a lot of belly, which is a good thing. And as for the blade shape, well, I don't know, call it what you want to call it, but that's what it is. Blade on this one is 3.5 inches. Now that's measured from the front of the bolster out to the tip, so the cutting is just slightly shorter, or 90 millimeters in the metric system. The overall length of the knife as it sits there opened is 8.5 inches, or 215 millimeters. If we close the knife up, it comes down to 4 7/8 of an inch, or 124 millimeters. Now we talked a little bit about the fact that it couldn't be pulled apart and why that might be an issue. If you get grit and grime in there, it's always going to be harder to pull apart, to clean out these traditional style folders. This one I'm just going to open and close it a couple of times so you can hear this. Hopefully you'll hear it. It's quite a gritty sound, and this is how it arrived. Now, it's relatively smooth opening, but I did note that grittiness from the factory. There is space there. I suspect there's some sort of washing system, possibly nylon. It's very hard to tell. I'm not sure what washer system in there, but again, it's worth mentioning that it did arrive like that. This has only had very light use, so it's not something that I've done to it. So it's, as I say, I use the term gritty because that's kind of what it sounds and feels like. Having said that, it opens smoothly enough, and it's not really an issue. The lockup is very, very good. Nice and strong, no movement, and I'm very pleased with that. You may have also noted on this one there's no thumb studs or anything like that. It is strictly a two-hand opening knife, so for people in countries such as mine where one-hand opening knives have become the next great evil, virtually equivalent to the Antichrist, you'll be able to get your hands on these knives. So from Australian viewers, we can safely import this type of knife, and certainly this one in particular we could import. It's got no clip either. This is strictly a right in the pocket type knife, or possibly given its weight, which I still haven't got to, and I should, it would probably be much at home in a leather pouch or nylon pouch on your belt. Weight of the knife, wait for it, 6.5 ounces or 184 grams, so it's quite a heavy weight. Now a lot of people will talk about weight on knives and lightweight and that type of thing, and that's fine, that has its place. However, I have to say a bit of weight in a knife, a little bit of heft, I think is no bad thing, and if you're a bit like me or a lot of other people, perhaps that's something you look for in a knife, so that may actually be an advantage to you. The downside, of course, is in your pocket. You're really going to know it's there. We just have a look at the contouring on the handle. You can see there that it narrows in towards front, quite a Coke bottle type shape, I guess, broadens out and then narrows back towards that bolster at the rear. Quite nicely shaped. A little bit of an edge on here. I wouldn't say it's sharp, it's been slightly chamfered, and there's a rounding. I don't know if that's going to show up in the video there. So handle shape's really nice, very comfortable. I've got large hands, and as you can see I can grip that quite comfortably. And of course you can choke up on that blade very easily on that thumb. It's got quite a sharp edge on the back there. It feels like there's been a slight chamfer off, but I would suggest that would work quite well on fire strikers, that type of thing. Overall quality I think is good. The joints between the bolsters and the wooden inserts, they're probably not quite perfect, but they're not too far off it. So I think the quality is good. The price is very good, or the value is very good I should say. I just looked at this on the internet, and then certainly in retailers in the United States you can pick this up for around about $44 US. So for something of this size and something that looks as it does, I think that's not too bad. Very handsome looking folding knife. And I may have forgot to mention the steel used on this knife. On their website, Marttiini listed as 440 stainless steel. They don't say 440A, 440C, so that's as good as I can tell you. It's 440 stainless steel. They do say it's hardened to 57 to 58 Rockwell. Probably should do just a quick size comparison on this particular knife. The very well known Ontario Rat 1 is basically exactly the same size both in blade length and handle. So if you've got one of those laying around, that'll give you a pretty accurate idea of what you'll be dealing with. Again, the Rat 1's quite a bit lighter and also a little bit thinner than the Marttiini knife. The 551 Benchmade Griptilian, you're looking at slightly shorter blade length, if we can just get that to show there, not by much, and the Griptilian has a significantly shorter handle, so overall length, if you look at that, it gives you some idea of how that knife stacks up against those two blades. I'll put them off to one side. So that's it. That's my take on the Marttiini MBL, or MBUBA, whatever that means. It's not a perfect knife by any stretch. I do have concerns about the grittiness when it opens. However, it's a good looking knife, comfortable knife, and I think the quality's quite high, all things considered. If you're looking for something just a little bit different, maybe something that doesn't look quite so tactical, or maybe looking for something to give as a gift, that presentation tin's a nice touch, this is worth having a look at, and it won't break the bank. That's my take on this one. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Bye for now.